Welcome to this episode of My VA Disability Claim. Today, we're going to talk about how do I file my hypertension claim. So what we're going to do is show you how to capture those core components, that core information using the Before You File Guidebook. All right, so here we are at that Before You File VA Disability Claims Guidebook. All right, and we'll scroll down and get right into it. Guidebook is available on the site. Helpful Veteran section of CHKI, that is the Carter Hughes Knowledge Institute. And this is just kind of an intro to the guidebook. All right, so hypertension is the claim, right? What is the condition you are filing for? All right, hypertension. Were you diagnosed with this condition while you were in the service, or is this condition the result of an event that took place while you were in the service? So in this situation, we're going to say was a result of exposure to contamination while in the service. All right. This situation, once again, we're following it as a part of the PACT Act. All right. So it was a result, this condition was a result of exposure to contamination while in the service. Next question. Do you have evidence of the diagnosis or in-service event? And what is the evidence? All right. And in this case, when it comes to contamination or exposure, you would just need records showing that you were at that base during that time period. All right. My personnel file will show that I was in that area during that time period. Right, and this could go for multiple. You got Agent Orange stuff. You have the Camp Lejeune stuff as well. There's more bases out there, right? You really can get into it, get in depth with this, and do some research. A lot of bases have some of this kind of harmful, toxic material, things like that, kind of contamination of whether it be water or air from burn pits and things of that nature. But all you'd have to show is that you were at that location during that designated time period. All right. So my personnel file will show that I was in that area during that time period. Third question. Do you have medical records showing a diagnosis of this condition since you separated from the service? All right. So this is a situation where we have an older veteran separated in 95, right? It's now 2020 and he's filing this claim 25 years after separation. So do we have medical records showing a diagnosis of this condition? So we'll go ahead and put that out. I separated in 1995, diagnosed with hypertension in 2015, right? Separated in 1995, got that diagnosis of hypertension in 2015, 20 years later, all right? Question number 4. What is the date on the medical record showing your first diagnosis for this condition since you separated from the service? All right, 2015. So we'll go April 21st, 2015. First diagnosis since separation. I'm going to spell separation. Let's see. I think it's like that too. Separation. Hey, all right, now we out here. What is the date on the most recent medical record showing your diagnosis for this condition since you separated? Okay, so it's 2020 when we're filing this. So let's say it's March 2020. We just in January went to the doctor. So we'll say January 3rd, 2020, most recent diagnosis.
Do you think the VA claims process can be difficult, stressful, or even chaotic at times? If so, we made the Before You File Guidebook to help you keep your claim simple and organized. The VA claims process can make you feel overwhelmed, frustrated, or even pissed off. So we made the Before You File Microlearning Course to help you feel comfortable and confident when you walk into that office to file your VA claim. Get the products and enjoy the benefits. Now back to the show.
All right, so first diagnosis since separation was 2015. Most recent is January 2020. How many years are there between your separation date and the date of your first diagnosis for this condition since separation? Year you separated, 1995. Year first diagnosis, 2015. 20 years. All right. Can you file a claim 20 years after separating from the service? Yes, you can. All right. There's no time limit. All right. With some of this Agent Orange stuff, I mean, this goes back to what, late 60s, right? Early 80s, right? Some of it. So you're talking 40, 50 years later. All right. So there's no time limit. If anyone tells you that, they're probably lying to you about other stuff also, huh? That's just real life, man. All right. Have you looked at the rating schedule for this condition? All right. So what we'll do now is take a look at that rating schedule for hypertension, and then based on the what's on the rating schedule, we'll come back here and talk about which evidence or which rating our evidence supports. All right. And this just goes off of your pressure readings. You have systolic and diastolic. The way I remember it, diastolic down, right? There's a number over another number. So the number on the bottom is the diastolic, number on the top is the systolic, right? Simple. We try to make everything simple. Diastolic down, huh? So it's the one that's down, the one on the top. So if your reading is 10 over 12, 12 is your diastolic, 10 is your systolic. All right. And that's how in the rating, that's how it's referred to in that rating schedule, systolic and diastolic pressure. All right. Let's go to the rating schedule. All right, and here we are at that rating schedule, right? And this is the rating that's normally used for hypertension, right? As far as your diastolic and systolic pressure readings. Once again, diastolic is the number on the bottom, systolic is the number at top, right? It's 10 over 12, 90 over 80, 14 over 15, but that's that's how they presented those, something over something. So after looking at that rating schedule and after looking at our evidence, right, our readings for the past year, 2 years, and what it's showing us is that 110 or more is the diastolic and that systolic is at about 200 or more, right? Now, these are extreme readings, right? 200 or more is that top number, and then 110 or more is that bottom number, right? And when that is the situation, once again, diastolic predominantly 110 or more, and that systolic right? So it has to be one or the other, right? It does not have to be both. The diastolic has to be 110 and above consistently, or the systolic has to be 200 or above consistently for that 20% rating, right? So in this situation, we said if you look at the rating schedule, yes. After looking at the schedule, which rating does your evidence support? Evidence of readings show a predominantly, so they're right too, huh? How about that? A predominantly 110 or more diastolic, 110 or more diastolic pressure. My evidence of readings show a predominantly 110 or more diastolic pressure. This warrants a 20% rating. All right. And that would be it, right? Looking at those readings and saying, hey, my evidence shows the diastolic is 110 or more normally. So that will warrant a 20% rating. All right. And in those cases where you get a 0% rating, that's not a problem, right? You want to just keep going back to the doctor, making sure you're getting your medication, making sure it's being monitored, right? Because even if you have a 0% rating, if something happens with you, right, and you pass because of some heart-related condition, even that 0% rating will get your dependents, that dependency indemnity compensation. That is that monthly payment because your passing was a result of a service-connected condition. All right. So the 0% gets you that medical coverage as well, right? That way you can go and have someone to speak with and give you the medication that you need. So you get the medical care. You don't get the compensation at 0%, but you do get the medical care. And if you do pass from a heart-related condition, then your dependents can get that dependency indemnity compensation, right? And that is significant. I personally filed hundreds of claims for folks getting that dependency indemnity compensation. And what is on the death certificate is critical. All right. So we want to make sure you're talking to your doctor, making sure you're getting your stuff documented, whatever's going on with you. All right. There we go. Hypertension, using that before you file guidebook. As always, learn the information, use the information. If you deem it to be valuable, share the information. Huh? Hey, man. Have an incredible day, baby.